Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Vital Axiom. It's Friday. We're going to start here just in a few moments. 1 minute counting. What's up, Christy and Tim? What's up, Janice? Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Denise. Somebody else on Periscope I can't see. We'll start just a minute. Hey, Brian Dorton, how you doing? Oh, yeah. About time for the Vital Axiom, the last one of the week. The last day of our relationship series. Hey, Kim. Hey, Jane. Hey, Cheryl. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I think it's time to push the right button. Here it comes. Welcome to the Vital Axiom. You're on Periscope and YouTube and Facebook. How you guys doing? Good to see you on the show today. Rolling down the music. So much we got to cover. So much. Hey, Crystal. Hey, Pamela. What's up? Dodie, how you doing, man? Hey, Carol. Good to have you guys on, and we're glad you're hanging out. We've had a great week, and you guys have really seen a lot of really sweet comments about this program series. I kind of realized that it probably super duper really needs to be talked about because of the response that I've had. And man, have I had the response. So we're going to pick up on, today we're going to talk about the definition of a relationship. You know, we said one of our first statements, let me just kind of run down the list of statements real quick, is most of us have distorted views of what a relationship is. Truth. Most of us place expectations on others they can't meet. Most of us are very poor communicators. Communicators. I don't know how I said that. Communicators. We are all too easily offended and terrible at forgiving and self-centered. So isn't that a wonderful way to start the day? I want to give you a few more memes that I've been doing and just kind of run through these real quick. And then I have so much I want to say. We're out of time just about. The week is about over. Hey Lynn. Hey, Russia. Privyet. Hey, John. Hey, Connie. Stephen. Gosh, so many people on the net. And here's one of the memes I put up this week I want you to think about. Don't pretend to be someone you are not to get into a relationship. People fake it all the time. Unless, of course, you're prepared to be someone you're not for the entire duration of the relationship. And people do that all the time. They fake it because they want somebody to believe they're somebody they're not. And, of course, that's impossible. And then you end up being discovered that you were fibbing and lying. And, of course, it doesn't work because you can't fake your whole life. Here's another one. How about this? Here's another meme we put up. Hey, Josh. The greatest relationships are the ones Christ-centered in action, reaction. Action is one thing, reaction is another. Conversation, motivation, a sacrifice in love. I tell a lot of our premarital candidates, I talk a lot about conversation. We talk about setting boundaries. Certain things are just out. I mean, I have never shouted at my wife, never once. I'm not saying I'm great or anything. I've never called her a name. I've never used any of those words that they get bleeped out on television. I've never done any of those kind of things because I set boundaries. I said, I'm not going to do this because I know it's going to destroy the relationship. Why would I want to do that? Of course, because I can't control myself. We said that you have one primary good thing to do in life. Control yourself. That's your main job. Get busy. Here's another one. This is very important. Never enter into a relationship with plans to change the other person. To change the other person. Not liking who they are is kind of the reason not to start the relationship. They say that women, and I don't mean this is just a generalized statement, women enter into a relationship saying, I'll change a man. Yeah, right now, he's an old deer hunting, he just likes that camouflage. I'm going to turn him into a GQ model. It's not going to happen, and you shouldn't even think about that. You should marry someone and love them for who they are, actually. And if you don't like who they are, why in the world would you enter in a relationship? Oh, I know, because they got money, or I don't know. What's the point? So that's a huge mistake. Last one, and then we'll talk a little bit about our stuff today. Here's another meme I put up you guys can check out. Marriage is not a cure for your issues or problems. I hear this all the time. I'm going to get married. I'm going to marry Prince Charming. Everything's going to go wonderful. And guess what happens? It doesn't. In fact, marriage will more than likely intensify your issues rather than fix them. If you got an anger problem, just wait till you get married. Wait till you get in that relationship. And we're not talking about just marriage this week, but there's some of the things we are talking about. Let's talk a little bit about so many things I want to talk about. Wow, so many things I want to talk about. Let me see where to start. Let's talk a little bit about expectation, because that really is the seed bed of all the troubles we get into. It seems like our unrealistic expectations. There is a difference between can't and won't. Can everybody say that? There's a difference between can't and won't, and you need to discover the difference. If the person in your relationship can't, for example, let's say if I came to your house today and I said, I want you to lift 700 pounds. We have it right here in the foyer. Just come on in here, and we're going to give you a couple seconds to warm up and stretch, and then you're going to lift 700 pounds. How many of you could do that? I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it at all. We said from the beginning that we wouldn't even talk or joke about divorce. That's powerful. That's really good. Don't even talk about it. I joke about everything. Y'all pray for me. Hey, Devin, what's up? So imagine that I said to you, okay, here's the deal. I want you to lift 700 pounds. Could you do that? And of course, you couldn't do it. Okay, so what if you said to your spouse, I want you to lift 700 pounds, and they can't do it? There are some things that you're expecting from your spouse or the other people in any kind of relationship that they just simply cannot do. And as long as you expect that and they can't do it, you live in a life of disappointment. You're unrealistic, and that just really damages relationships. You got it. Now, there's a won't. If there's a won't in someone's life and they're just being lazy or whatever, okay, that's a whole different story. We're not even going to talk about it today. So let's talk a little bit about how do you define a relationship. And mostly we're going to talk about marital relationships today. How do you define a relationship? Hey, Catherine. Hey, Sandra. Of all the words I could think about, of all the words I could pick out of the English language, we're not using Russian. Ya говорит по-русски чуть-чуть, but we're not going to do that today. Of all the words I could pick out to define a relationship, you ready? Here it is. It's this word. Ready? Mutual. Mutual. One of the memes that I put up is that marriage is not 50-50, but it's 100-100. Here's some things I wrote down. A relationship, especially marital, should be a place of mutual responsibility. Mutual responsibility, which means we shoulder the responsibilities in our life together. That we are in this thing together and we're working together. Mutual benefit. You know, here's one of the things I see the most in relationships is an imbalance of benefits. One person is getting a lot of benefits and one person is not getting any. And I know a guy will say, well, honey, I got that job and I got that paycheck and I bring it home. And that is a benefit, but that's a benefit for everybody. It doesn't negate the fact that you need to love on somebody or encourage them, or even sexually that someone has a benefit. You know, it's funny how we play games with people. I've always told people, if you don't meet your spouse's needs, I promise you somebody else will. Thus, people end up in trouble. Your spouse has emotional needs. Your spouse has sexual needs. Your spouse has support needs. They have weaknesses. And so what has to happen is that a relationship that's successful is mutual. It's mutual benefit. It's not one-sided. And a lot of guys in a sexual relationship just want to get their needs met and get it over with. That's not mutual. That's not beneficial to the relationship. Mutual support. That's another word that comes to mind when I think about a relationship. What is a real relationship? It's a situation between two people where there is mutual support. That in your situation, in your life, in your things, I'm going to support you. And then in my life, in my situations, you're going to support me. If I need you, you're going to be there for me. If you need me there, I'm going to be there for you. We're going to do things together. We're a team. And most people don't come to a relationship that way. Honestly, I mean, most. I'm going to say most. Why do you think 50% of all marriages end in divorce? 50%, y'all. I think partially because we marry, we want to change people, because we marry because we don't want to know what a relationship is, because we marry and we've been brought up in dysfunction and we think that's how everybody lives. So many things are there. That's why, I don't know if y'all know this or not, that's why I refuse to marry anybody that I can't go through premarital counseling with. I won't. I had a couple one time and I kept telling them, now, son, I'm going to marry you on this date, but we got to do premarital counseling. And it came up to the night of rehearsal. I came to rehearsal. We did rehearsal, and I said this to the guy. Who's marrying you tomorrow? He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm not marrying you. And he said, what do you mean? I said, I told you I would not marry you if we could not go through premarital counseling. You got to be kidding me. I said, well, when are we going to do it? I said, I don't know. But you know what? You better figure it out. We were down here at the church at 11, 12 o'clock at night. And you know what? Their marriage didn't make it. Now, I wonder why. I think I saw it coming. So it's a quality relationship is a relationship of mutual benefit, mutual support, mutual responsibility, mutual pleasure. And anything that is one-sided is not a relationship. And I know that we have strengths. So therefore, when it comes to certain aspects of life, I'm better at it than my spouse. And certain aspects of my life, she's better than I am. But if we don't have a mutuality in relationship, if everybody's not giving 100%, it's not going to make it. Excuse me, or the quality of it will not go. I wrote down this is the definitions I give I ask premarital candidates, I ask them these questions. Which one is the definition of marriage? See what you think. Here they are. Romantic life together. Is that marriage? Well, no, that romance. Guys don't like that. Loving partnership. Partnership. Or how about a journey filled with ups and downs? You know, some people get married and think, we're never going to have any problems. And if we do, something's really wrong. How about this? Two people in love facing life's challenges and blessings together. How about this one? Mutual love, mutual honor, and mutual respect. Last one, intimate friendship. And I read that list to them, and I say, which one's the best definition of marriage? And then they say something, I say, no, it's all of them. Marriage is romance. Marriage is partnership. Marriage is ups and downs. Marriage is challenges and blessings. Marriage is honor, love, and respect. Marriage is intimacy and friendship. And so I want you to think about that. We look at what relationship is. And like I said, to me, the greatest definition of a relationship is mutual. 100% to God both ways. One of the things that I do, Dodie, when I'm talking to people about marriage is I draw a triangle. And I put God at the top, and then I put each spouse on either side. And here's what I say. As you draw nearer to God, you draw nearer to each other. And so a Christ-centered marriage is the only one that can really succeed. I don't know. I tell people that God created marriage, and it has to be His way or for it to work. And the way it works is that we share our responsibility. Now, I want to talk a little bit in the last little bit of our conversation about relationships, about how do you get them fixed? How do you fix a relationship? Somebody's disappointed you or hurt you or done something dastardly, or how do you get those fixed? Or maybe you're just cold and indifferent. Maybe you're just like, you know, man, that old spark ain't there anymore. I just wish we could go back to our dating days. How do you do that? I want to talk about a couple of things. Now, the primary term for me is the word invest. Now, let me ask this question. How many of you guys have a checkbook, a checking account, right? Y'all have a checking account? I know we use cards today. I've got my debit card here in my pocket. It's the same thing. So how many of you understand this? And I think you'll get this. I think most of you will get this. If you go out today and just start swiping that thing, you go get gas, go get food, you go to Walmart and get $100 worth of stuff you don't need, and you just keep swiping, but you never go to the bank and put any money in. What's going to happen to you? Well, you're going to overdraw your checkbook. You're going to go bankrupt. Well, here's what I see in relationships that I deal with, that the people draw on their relationship all the time and they never invest in it. For example, parents don't spend any quality time together. Husband and wives, we get married and we have kids, and then I remember a story of a family, and they got married, and I think they had a good marriage, and they had a kid, and everything went south. Is it the kid's fault? No. You know, one of the things I teach in premarital counseling is protect your marriage from your children. Because your children can come in, they're not negative, I don't mean that, but your children can come in and consume you so much you forget about each other and you don't have a relationship anymore. Never had a relationship anymore. So what I say to them, here's what you do is you got to invest. Just like that bank account, you're always drawing, you got to keep putting money in. And the reason a lot of people's relationship goes stale or loses its fire is because they don't invest anymore. They don't date. You know, I tell people, I don't know what you got to do, but you got to get on a date with your spouse. You got to go somewhere and be romantic, go get a motel and just, have fun, intimacy, whatever. You got to invest in the relationship, not just sexually, but intellectually, emotionally. You got to be spending time together. You know, one of the things that my wife and I will do is we'll lay in bed at night, and this is G-rated. We'll lay in bed at night, and we'll start reminiscing. Hey, hey, do you remember when we first met? And do you remember when we first kissed? And do you remember our early dates and early times and when you proposed to me? And it sort of stirs, gets you, oh, man, that was so awesome. I remember why I love you. I remember why we got together. If you're not going to invest in your relationship, I promise you're going to go bankrupt. Can I just promise you that? If you're not going to spend time with that person, if you're not going to love on them, if you're not going to get their focus, you got to put these phones down and you got to get somewhere where you're just focused on each other and talk about each other and value each other and honor each other. If you don't make those investments, what kind of person would believe that a checking account that never had a deposit would ever be any good? So then why do you believe a relationship that never, ever, ever has investment could possibly be any good? It's not going to be. It's just, it's impossibility. You will do, at the very least, okay, can I be honest with you? At the very least, you will drift apart. At the very least, you will drift apart. And you'll start to, spend more time with your friends, or somebody at work will say, hey, I like that outfit. Of course, they'll go to jail these days or get fired from NBC or something. But somebody will say something, and then you're going to go, well, that might be a more interesting relationship. I think the funniest thing that I ever see is the greener grass syndrome. You think, well, I'm going to get out of this relationship, and I'm going to get in that one, and boy, everything's going to be what I ever dreamed of. Well, it's just not true. Everybody has issues, and they don't all have the same issues. I mean, one person you're in a relationship might have, a habit of belching, and the other one don't take a bath. Which one do you want? I mean, think about this reality. If you have to invest in the relationship you have, if you run out of money in your checking account, you don't go open another checking account. If you do, you're trying to con somebody, you put money in it. You put money back in because it's out. So you can continue to draw or get the benefit of that checking account. And if you're not willing to invest in your relationship, you are not going to have one. Lynn said, invest, be friends, stay friends. Lynn, can I be honest? A lot of people that I talk to and counsel with really aren't friends because they, what happens to people, and this is why you don't commit adultery and have sex out of marriage. People get together and they get their little fires of passion burning and they start having sex, and then every time they get together they have sex, and then they get married. They don't even know each other. They don't even know each other because they didn't spend time building a relationship, a friendship. Got to go, bro. Okay, miss you, man. Good to see you, Josh. I know you got to go. So, guys, I want you to think about relationship. We've covered so many things that are awesome this week. Maybe just a little bit of a review. As we kind of look back, we talked about so many things. One of the things we talked about was unrealistic expectations. We said that the success of your relationship is predictable based upon how you're behaving. And the one thing I want you to think about is dysfunction. I really want you to think about dysfunction. There are so many wounded people running around that were raised in dysfunctional relationships. So many people running around that were just had terrible lives growing up, but the problem was that formed how they looked at life. Maybe I want you to think about this. Maybe you need to change the way you look at life. And the reason, I wanted to close with this today because everybody's going to be mad when I go, and so eye candy leads to some big cavities. Good morning, Pauline. I want to kind of close with this. Is it possible that the problem in your relationship is you? Now, it is possible that it isn't you. It is possible that it's a combination. But can you, I said that a relationship is mutual responsibility. Can you take responsibility for what you're doing wrong or saying wrong or acting wrong? Can I just give you some examples? Pouting. That's really out of bounds. Stop it. It's just don't do that. I'm not going to, that right there, you're just begging for relational trouble. Anger. And fits of rage, the Bible talks about this yelling and throwing and breaking stuff and screaming, all that junk. That's out of bounds. Can you stop doing that? Sarcasm and bringing up the past and all the hurtful things. Can you stop doing that? Because, that's not going to be a benefit to your relationship. Name calling or blaming all the time. I've gotten to the point in my life, I don't even care who's to blame. I don't even care. I just want to work it out. If it was some big deal, if it was some big event, if it was adultery or something, okay, we got to deal with that. But, as far as what happened, you said this, well, you said that. Well, I didn't mean that. Well, I thought you meant that. Well, it sounded like you meant that. I don't want to do all that. I just want to say, let's have some peace. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. I really didn't mean that way. And then the other person should say, okay, that's cool. I'll give you that grace. I've said things I didn't mean, or they came out different, or I was misunderstood. We're terrible at good communication. We're terrible at it. So, but I want to ask you today to take responsibility for your part of the relationship. You say, but I'm doing everything right, and I'm doing everything, and the other person does nothing. That might be true, but it's probably not. All of us make mistakes in relationships. All of us fail. And the idea that you're infallible is ridiculous and completely detrimental to your relationship. So think about it today. And learn how to forgive. Last thing, learn how to forgive. Larry says that forgiven, forgotten forever, just as Christ does for us. But you know what? We don't want to be like Christ, do we, Larry? We want to use them as weapons. Remember what you did? I'm going to bring it back up and use it as a weapon. We can't do that. If all these things, if we're going to have a successful relationships. And that's the point, right? You didn't get in this relationship so it could fail. I want to have a really bad relationship. I want to pick this person. It's just going to be horrible. Nobody does that. And if they do, they got real issues. Okay, guys, remember, you can't fix anybody and they can't fix you. The Lord can fix you and you can fix yourself. Go in there and love somebody, forgive them. Why don't you guys start investing today? Say, baby, let's go on a date. And they might go, I don't want to go on a date with you because y'all been fighting. Well, work it out. Buy them a present. Just start over. Start fresh. I've had fun this week. Responsibility. That's cool. I like that. Hey, Jim. Hey, Joyce. I've had fun this week. It's been fun. Thanks for all the hearts over on Periscope. You guys are thebomb.com. And thanks for hanging out and all your comments. You guys have said so many great things. Get to church somewhere this weekend and find a good church full of the Holy Spirit. Go in there and worship. Let the Word of God change your life. That's the real key to your relationship. Because when you start acting like Christ, you're gonna bless that other person so much, everything's gonna change. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. I think I'm out of here. I'm done for today. I'm finished. Adios, do svidanya, au revoir. See ya. Y'all be good. Never have had a chow. Isn't that one of those black-tongued dogs? Chow, Dodie. Happy birthday to my wife today, by the way.